main theme for today's this last valedictory session is action plan for making science and spirituality complementary for building a better society. But before we discuss this action plan, we have our learned speakers on the dais, and we request them to speak on their related topics also. I will first call upon Dr. V.N. Srikhande, Professor and Head of the Department, General Surgery, Bombay Hospital. His topic is Science of Healing, a Surgeon's Perspective. We already heard his biodata yesterday, and I am sure you all remember because I have great respect for your memory power also. However, for the benefit of those who were not here yesterday in the morning session, I will just repeat his biodata in brief only because it's a very long biodata. He is MBBS, FRCS, Edinburgh and whatnot, former professor of surgery, Grand Medical College. It's a long biodata, you see, and it's very difficult to comprehend, you see. We have received biodata of one speaker running into 77 pages. That's a very big task, you see, to comprehend, you see, a big biodata of 77 pages. Anyhow, let me introduce Dr. Srikhande. He is past president of Indian chapter of the International Hepatopancreatico-Biliary Association, honorary surgeon to the Governor of the state of Maharashtra, and trained in general surgery also in Bombay, India and UK in 1950s. Yesterday he was telling me that he started his career as a surgeon in March 1953. Many of us here may not be born by that time. And today morning I asked him how many operations he must have operated so far, how many patients he must have operated by now. And he said roughly more than 20,000 at least. Major, because he says I indulge in and do only major surgery, and therefore you see figure is restricted to about 20,000. Had it been doing minor surgery also, I think it would have been more than 50,000 operations by now. And he is interested in this topic. When we started discussion about organizing this dialogue, the first name that we decided that we should consult home. So he is not merely honorary consultant or surgeon of the Governor of Maharashtra also, but our honorary patron, so to say, also of this dialogue also. And he has given us lots of encouragement, lots of suggestions, lots of changes in topics, etc., that we had suggested, because he is the man from the field of science, and therefore we said that this is going to be our first experiment in Bombay of doing this type of education, organizing this type of seminar in Bombay, and therefore he came to our rescue. So many times we went to his hospital also. Once he was so busy and he was so much enthusiastic, he said, Ramesh bhai, I will come to your office, but let us finalize plans. And I said, no, I will not request you to come to my office. We will come down to your Sushra hospital, you see. So like that he has been helpful in all respect. And therefore now I call upon him to give his speech, Science of Healing, a surgeon's perspective. Dr. V.N. Srikhande.
Dr. Devdar, all people sitting on the dais, and brothers and sisters. As Mr. Ramesh Shah told you just now, I have been in the operation theatre for 49 years and 8 months and a few days more. My work started on the 1st of January 1954, and with the grace of good wishes by all people, I am still active. This morning, Rakesh Sharma told something very nice to us, that when he went away from the earth, he fell in love with the earth. He knew how beautiful the earth is. In a different way, I go inside, I go in the inner journey and realize one thing: under the skin we are all the same. Our blood groups are A, B, etc. It is not an Indian blood, it is not a Nazi blood, it is not a Hindu blood, it is not a Sikh blood. All blood is same, except for the skin. We are all made a similar thing that brings us together. And I'm sure that is the philosophy of Brahma Kumaris. Send a message of love and brotherhood all over the country and the world. I have been in contact with tissues and blood every day, and all good doctors know by experience that spirituality cannot be divorced from science. They all go hand in hand. This sort of a division is a mental aberration by people who neither know science nor spiritualism. I'll show you a few slides just now. Next slide. Life is a mystery. From one cell, a complex body is formed. Can you ever believe it? From one cell, the brain is formed, the abdomen is formed, the intestines and the heart and the bones. It can never happen elsewhere. On this I will not talk just now. But the main mystery is an inherent attribute of healing. When people start comparing body with a machine, they have no idea of what stupid thing they are talking. Machines can't heal themselves. While in the body ill, the body continues to work. It does not go to a garage. Understand this thing? So this is the inherent thing, it heals on its own. Many diseases are self-healing. When I do like this, next one. For example, fractures heal. They have found out a human skeleton thousands of years old where a fracture of a bone of a thigh had completely healed. What did it indicate? Thousands of years back, a person who had a fracture healed, a thigh bone, at that time there were no orthopedic people doing the operations, no nailing was done, no X-ray was ever taken, but his friends, his relatives must have taken care to keep him still for 3 months. Nursing was born at that time, and after 3 months, he could again bear a weight. So even without doctors, bones has a capacity to heal. You see, wounds can heal on their own. Liver is a remarkable organ. You remove 3/4 of a liver, it will form again within 1 year's time. Intestinal fistulae can heal. Many diseases are self-limiting. This is the biggest mystery of life. Some years back I read an island near Greece was completely devastated with a volcano. It was found to be completely teeming with life within 4 decades without anybody going there. The earth has got a capacity to heal on its own. We are a part of that life, both the earth and man. What is the intestinal fistula? This is something very interesting. Intestines can get damaged, can make a hole there, either because of infections like typhoid, by injuries, either blunt injuries or by knife or bullets. They can get damaged while operations, or they can get damaged because of lack of blood supply. Intestines can get holes. What do we do at that time? We protect the skin because intestinal contents can be extremely irritating, and the most important thing is maintain the nutrition. Give them something to eat. This nutrition can be given by mouth. It can be given by means of tubes which are passed into the intestines, or we can give the nutrition through the blood. This is a photograph of a woman who came to me 24 years back, operated for a burst appendix. 3 times operations were done, and the intestines continue to leak. And you see here, the entire skin was irritated, ulcerated. She was in agonies 24 years back. And what did we do? I said, eat everything that you can. She was operated thrice to stitch the intestines. And every time the stitching would take for 1 or 2 days, again give up. What did we do? I said, eat as much as you want. At this site, intestinal juice are about 6 liters per day. I said, you eat as much as you want. And we found out that whatever she ate, something she could absorb, something she could not. But with that thing, next slide, it completely healed. No operation was done. She was taking 22 eggs per day. Because white of the eggs contain proteins. Yellow of the egg is difficult to digest. Without doing a single operation, this is a slide which is shown in our conferences all over the country, that this is what nature does, not my knife. Understand, very few of you would know that the entire area of the intestines is as big as a football ground. Our 25 feet of intestine, if you open it up, your 25, I mean, is as big as a football ground. Even if you make a small part of it for absorption, nature does wonders. As most of the human beings do not use more than 10% of their brains, and still they can live. We can use hardly 20% of our intestines, and the patient's completely cured. Within this time, she put on 8 kilos of weight. When intestines become very friable because of infection or injuries, they become as delicate, as friable as a blotting paper. And therefore, you stitch them beautifully, the stitches do not hold. You see here, we had a case with a boy with a very bad car accident. We tried to stitch the 2 ends of the intestines, and it gave way within 2.5 days. However skillful you may be, whatever sutures you may use, it just gave way. Again, our old plan came. You can just see here, the whole abdominal wall was missing. These were the intestinal holes here, intestinal holes here, intestinal holes here. This patient is just now with me in Bombay Hospital. What did we do? You can see here. No, please don't change now. Next slide now. You see here, whatever food we gave, a lot of it came from the hole here. This is the intestinal content came out, but we took care of his skin and asked him to eat. Proteins are very important. He likes rasgulla, I say eat it. Shira, eat it. Why? What he requires is nutrition, and now you see here, it's not getting better without any operations. Here was a lady flown from North India after a very major operations and got intestinal holes because the pathology was very, very bad. She came with a respiratory failure in a septic shock. We did the same thing. We opened the abdomen, drained all the abscesses. You see here, I brought the intestine out here, so that she has about 12 feet of intestine available for her to absorb things. And within 2-3 days, she started improving. All that we did was drain the pus out, make use of intestine that you have, and those intestines which are badly damaged, for time being, put them out of circulation so that they will not leak anything more. You see, nowadays we got nice bags available by which we can collect all the intestinal contents here. And believe me, she started improving. What did show just now? Nutrition is important. Human bodies can heal on their own if you give them the correct nutrition. Here was a lady of 75. I operated hardly 5 days back. She had a stomach cancer. You see here, extensive stomach cancer, because she had so few symptoms. This stomach was taken out. Now, what do we do? Here is a food passage here, gullet. Here starts the small intestine. So when you take a stomach out, there's a hole here, there's a hole here. We close this hole here, cut the intestine here, bring this intestine up here, and join the intestine to this part, and the body heals. See here, this is an extensive stomach cancer. Remember one thing, this was a statement made by a very well-known surgeon in 1890, 113 years back, that if you want the tissues to heal well, if you want intestines to heal well, all that we have to do is to handle them gently, be very sharp with your dissection, don't work with roughness, preserve the blood supply, bring the parts together without tension, stop all the bleeding sides, give rest to the part, and the body heals. This statement made by 1890 will be still true after 10,000 years, because body is same. See, here are the intestines joined together. That lady whom I operated last week with stomach cancer, this is the way we join the intestines. And then believe me, if the two parts come together without tension, if I maintain the blood supply well, if I handle these tissues very gently, can you believe? Within 3 days we start giving her tea. Can you imagine two intestines coming together? They start getting a healing process within 6 hours. This nature to me is a mystery. This is what the body is doing for millions of years. At times when nutrition cannot be given by mouth, we are forced to give nutrition by blood. And for a long time I remember a student used to give nutrition from the veins of the hand. But veins of the hands are very small. And whatever thing you give, the veins get irritated, thrombose and block. A new method has come. We take a vein in the neck, which is very near the heart. And so the veins near the heart are very big veins. This is called a central line. As you approach a big city, you get big roads. So this is what we do here. You see here, this is a way that we find through which a catheter is passed. It's called a central line. And through this central line, we can give any nutrition that they need for the bodies to heal. Here was a man operated last Wednesday for a cancer of the pancreas. He underwent one of the most major operations that took about 6.5 hours time. And believe me, within 4 days he was up on his feet. Not that we are great surgeons, because the science has improved a great deal. You can see here, he is taking a diet now through this bottle that goes to a catheter which has been put into the small intestine. This is called jejunal feeds. Because the feed that we give through the blood do carry some risk. The best way to take a food is through intestines. So we have put a catheter here, and the intestines are fed within 2 days of the operation. Give them a good nutrition, body heals. You can see here, We take a piece of intestine here, a catheter is passed from here, it goes to the intestine, it's called a jejunal feed. Your intestines require good feed, your brain requires good thoughts, your heart requires compassion, your muscles require activity, your lungs require good exercise. Just do a few simple things and the body is a marvelous thing we have. It's the only factory in the world which can move anywhere and still work well. Am I right, Mr. Bhupani? Factories are factories everywhere. At times there is a loss of tissue, the healing takes place, but healing is defective, it can't be helped. If at all the two bones are joined together at an angle, the bones would heal, but the bones would heal in a defective way. So nature can't be 100% good, and when nature is not that good, we have to at times go in and do a good job. You see here is a fat lady who had underwent some operation on the abdomen in the past and got a huge hernia of the abdomen. Why? The muscles were weak, there was too much of fat, and fat had got a very poor blood supply. Wherever there's a fat, the wound healing is defective. What did we do? We can't make her young. She was 76 years of age. You can't make a person young with age. You see here, the intestines had come out. There was a big gap in the abdominal wall. What we do? We put all the intestines inside, and there's a cover, there's a smooth cover called a peritoneum. That will cover the intestines. And next step is, you can see here now there's smooth cover is being covered here. Now here's a mesh made by man. Synthetic fiber made by man called proline. And this proline material is extremely friendly with the human body. It does not cause reactions, it is accepted by the body. It maintains its identity but helps the person to gain strength. You see here, this is a big gap. We have put a mesh inside. You can now see here, there's a big gap here, but this mesh will do the job. And on this mesh, a new tissue will grow within a few months, and by the end of 1 year, it will become a part of the body, but maintain the identity. Now, this human body is remarkable. Everybody can maintain this identity as if it is part of a main game. Heart muscle is not like intestinal muscle. Brain is not like kidney, but each maintains his own identity and makes the whole part one entity. In this field, I have done a tremendous amount of work in the country for which I am known. Acute pancreatitis. Pancreas is the organ where digestive juices are formed, where insulin is made, and this pancreas, if the duct gets blocked, the pancreas bursts open, and the juices which are supposed normally to digest the food that we eat start digesting the body itself and leads to extensive burns. The cause of pancreatitis is normally two: gallstones and alcohol. Alcohol consumption has gone up, and now acute pancreatitis has become a social disease in many parts of the world. Why people take alcohol and destroy themselves? Science has no answer. Spiritualism will have to come. Now you see here, this as a scan we have done. Here the pancreas is completely gone. It has burst here. It causes extensive burns. This is a CT scan. Here the kidneys are here. You see it has formed pus inside now on the operating table. Pus under pressure. And see, this is what happens. A nice pancreas which was doing a wonderful job is now destroyed by its own juices. Why some people destroy themselves? Science has no answer. Science knows how it happens. Science does not tell you why it happens. And you see here, this now pancreas is completely dead. And the burns inside the abdomen are so extensive that Before operations were done on the condition, there was 100% people used to die. But now with modern medicine, we can save 2 out of 3 people. Intensive care. In intensive care, each organ is cared for. The brain gets a good blood supply, eyes are protected from irritation, lungs get a proper amount of oxygen, kidneys get good blood supply, heart is looked after, intestines are looked after, nutrition is given. Intensive care, where we take support of every organ to keep the people alive. Thus, modern medicine has healed many lives, saved many lives. But remember one thing, without intensive care, you take extensive care of your own self. And it was an interesting study, but this is known of for a long time, longevity and healthy lives. And I give them, there are no 7 parachutes for you here, but they are still can be used here. Daily exercise is 1 parachute. Keep your weight in check. Do not smoke. Plenty of vegetables and fruits in your diet. Keep away from greed. Involvement in community affairs and gratitude. This is what science tells us. I remember in 1958, I attended a lecture in London given by a very well-known doctor who was a physician to the Queen of England, physician to Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, and he was telling in 1958 that if you want to keep a good health, if a young man comes and asks me, what should I do? He said, I will tell him a few things. Take daily exercise. Do not get fat. For God's sake, keep away from cigarettes. Eat plenty of vegetables and fruits and lead a sensible life. So I told my friend who was sitting next to me, I said, look, this is what I learned from my grandfather, who was not a doctor. I came from a small town. We had no gadgets at home. He used to get up early in the morning at 5 o'clock, walk 10 miles a day, never smoke, 2 cups of tea, disciplined life, frugal diet. He did not know what was meant by greed, completely Gandhi in the whole outlook. My father was same. I had taken some genes from him. So I think these are the 7 parachutes you can use, and they need not be bought anywhere else. They are available to you at your home. You need not go in air, but for that you must go to an inside journey in life. When you want to go abroad, you must take a passport, take a visa, take a foreign exchange, go to a travel agent, ask for your seat, make a fax or email. You know, it's such a tremendous harassment. If you want to go for an inside journey, you do not require a passport, no visa, no foreign exchange, everything is same, but that's a dangerous journey because it's a journey of self-exploration. And self-exploration is a very difficult thing that a conducted tour. But for me, life is an exploration, not a conducted tour. Ultimately, if you want to have healing, doctors can help you. We can help infections with antibiotics. In intensive care, we can give organ support to you, nutrition, oxygen, blood transfusions. Now this is your responsibility. Fat people, lack of exercise, tobacco, diabetes, alcohol, hypertension, what can doctors do? If people want to destroy their lives, I say, doctor, abhi tum kuch bhi karo, aapko acha kar do, is putting us in a corner. Don't laugh, this we see every time. The only thing they cannot do is that they can't get the age later, but I will not put the factor of age here. For age is not in your hands. The moment you are born, the clock starts working, and the most important thing is patient's mind, his willpower, his enthusiasm, hope, and optimism is something that you must have your own. Don't say it was genetic. There are many people who say, no, doctor, you know, when I was born, my mother slapped me once, and from that day I lost all enthusiasm. This is called somebody else is responsible for what's going wrong with me. Write one word at your home, I am responsible for what I do. I have got a choice to do what I want, but I do not have a choice to choose the consequences of what I do. Please remember what I'm saying. I am free to choose what I want to do, but I have no freedom to choose the consequences of what I do. And therefore, I think the most important thing is that I can tell you one thing, even when I was a young student 50 years back, all good doctors found out that patient's mind has to be treated like a flower. As I told you yesterday, before any operation, I go and talk to a patient. I take their hand in my hand. Some people put their hand on their head, on their chest. I tell them, don't worry at all. I am with you. You are absolutely safe in our hands. Modern medicine can do a lot of good. I'll see that you don't get any pain, and you'll be back in time in no time. And please believe me, this works in a marvelous way. I think we are not technicians. We don't use gadgets. A good doctor, even 50 years back, even now would talk on this point. Last sentence, Norman Cousins, you must have heard a remarkable book called Anatomy of Illness. He was supposed to have a wrong time to get a phone, I'm going to stop it. He was supposed to have a disease which was incurable. He changed his lifestyle. And please read this book, Anatomy of Illness. When our science had told this man that he has no chance to live, the disease is fatal, he did not accept the verdict of the doctors. I am myself a doctor, I am a man of science, and this is the cause of our stress in life. He did not accept the verdict of modern science. He had a disease called ankylosing spondylitis, and the disease was progressively fatal. He had gone to Moscow to take a delegation of states. He came back and said, if the stress of my life in Moscow, the fuel that I took, the tension that I had was the cause of my disease, I'll go backwards in time. He went for a fresh air, started smiling, laughing, changed his diet, laughed a lot, kept away from newspapers, television, etc. And he got a cure. The doctors accepted that he's cured. He was the only non-medical man appointed as a professor in Los Angeles. Read that book. He said, hope, faith, and strong will to live offer no promise of immortality, only proof of our uniqueness as human beings and the opportunity to experience full growth. Death is not the ultimate tragedy in life. The ultimate tragedy in life is to die without discovering the possibilities of full growth. Please understand this thing. The approach of their death need not be the denial of their growth. Lokmanya Tilak has said that freedom is my birthright. Every one of us must say, growth is my own right. I got a right to grow every day, but choice is with me. Dhanyavad, Om Shanti.
Thank you, Dr. Srikhande. You know how busy he is that while he was speaking here, he had 2 telephone calls. I hope they were not from his patients. Thank you very much for your enlightening talk. And we all hope now that we have that hope to live, and we hope that we will all be, recently we read that more than 1,000 or 2,000 people in Japan, they have crossed the age of more than 100 years. They have lived at least, they have crossed century. I think we all should get that blessing from God, that we all also will be able to cross 100 years of our worthy living life. Now, I call upon Mr. P.S. Devdhar. Mr. P.S. Devdhar, His topic is Science and Social Responsibilities in a Developing Society. I will repeat, Science and Social Responsibilities in a Developing Society. I have his brief biodata, already comprehended by him only. He was born in 1934, the year in which I was also born. He was born in September, I was born in February, so I am senior to your good self. Born in Pune, academic qualification is BE Telecommunications, first class, first distinction, 1956, University of Pune. Professional fellowships, distinguished fellow of IETE India, fellow IEEE USA, fellow Institution of Engineers India, fellow Indian Academy of Engineers, honorary fellow Broadcast Engineering Society. He was a research scholar and busy with research and development from 1956 to 62 with Tata Institute of Fundamental Research and Medical Electronics Division, ICMRA. He was, and in fact he is the founder of AP Lab Limited Group of Industries from 1962 right now. He has been awarded Engineering Manager of the Year 1990, Engineering Management Society, IEEE USA, the only non-American so far to receive this international award. His professional or public service, I counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He was chairman of 7 commissions. Or first was chairman of Electronics Commission with Minister of State rank from 1986 to 90. Then advisor electronics to the Prime Minister Government of India from 1988 to 1990. Chairman Broadcast Council Government of India 1992 to 1993. Chairman ET&T Corporation Limited Government of India Enterprise from 1984 to 89. Chairman Meltron Limited of Government of Maharashtra 1982 to 84. Chairman Mahanagar Gas Limited, a British gas joint venture from 1995 to 1999. Like that, you see, I mean, he is about his socio-scientific service. He was Chairman World Marathi Conference, Jerusalem, Israel, in 1997. Chairman World Marathi Academy, Jagtik Marathi Parishad 1997 to 99, and President Maharashtra Economic Development Council from 1997 to 99. He has publications to his credit also. One very good title, The Third Parent. We in our Brahma Kumaris ask people how many parents you have got, how many fathers you have got. And we all say that we have got 3. Like that, you see, he has also written a book titled The Third Parent, 1991. I think we should, Brahma Kumaris also write The Third Father, the God the Supreme. Electronics Media of National Development, then Capital Punishment in 1993, about agonies of working in Delhi, then Materials for Electronics 1979, then technical articles, papers, several hundred articles and monograms in professional journals, proceedings, and also in the national and international dailies and weeklies. So this is his biodata and background. So we invite Mr. P.S. Devdar, President Marathi Vigyan Parishad also, and his topic is Science and Social Responsibilities in a Developing Society.
Dignitaries on the dais, sisters and brothers. I must thank the organizers first of all to give me an opportunity in this forum to come and express views on science and spirituality. After hearing Dr. Shikhande, I realized that I have a task of touching upon issues which he has not touched, because there is very little I can add to what he said. Very eloquently he has put before you what human body can do to itself and what human being can do to its own body. And I think all of us in our life keep on searching solutions for individual emancipation, whether it is pursuit of spirituality or it is pursuit of anything that we believe in, like earning more money, which is today the most popular motivation, and variety of things we try to do with a belief that pursuing some of those things we will become happy. One thing I must state, that I am a practicing engineer. For the last 45 years or more, I have been practicing engineering, which is indeed application of science to find solutions, practical solutions for community, for people. This is slightly different exercise, this is slightly different profession than concentrating on oneself as an individual. And I find during the deliberations that I was a part of listening as a listener, that we have discussed part of today that I was present here to find out what you can do to emancipate yourself, to make yourself at peace, to progress, be satisfied, and therefore whether it was medical cure to human body or whether it was psychological, spiritual cure to one's mind, we were looking inside, we were looking at ourselves. As a scientist engineer, I think we had to engage ourselves in using science and using, for that matter, any tool which was accessible to us to solve or try to solve the problems faced by society as a community. And in that context, I would say that progress of science, and progress of science has a short history as compared to progress of human development. The progress of science, which I would say began at the beginning of 19th century, and this community of engineers that to which I belong to saw the glorious days beginning of 19th century. Year after year, if you start from 1830, you will find engineers provided solutions which added comfort to society. Water has to be fetched from well or river to the homes. Engineers managed to create water storage, deliver it in pipeline into homes. There was a hardship in traveling. A number of transportation devices were invented by engineers, provided to the community, adding comfort to travel. It added safety, it added comfort, it added entertainment. I belong to the stream of electronics, and electronics indeed revolutionized human life, adding comfort. Telecommunications, we talk of community, we talk of interaction. One of the aspects of spirituality is really interaction. And that was enabled massively through the technologies of information. Today we say that we live in knowledge age. And with all that, I felt that this duality between science and spirituality, as if they are against each other, has come out of, to an extent, of ignorance on either side. Science, as I said, is a young art. And it started with limited knowledge base, and that knowledge base has been growing in the field of science. And I can see clearly over the last 30, 40, 50 years that as science progressed, it realized the limitations of beliefs that it had in the past. And many of those beliefs are given up. And science is coming closer to understand and accept spirituality. 50 years back, Dr. Gregg and Watson found out about chromosomes. And today, after 50 years, we are getting closer to this puzzle of human intelligence. I believe that science will continue to progress. When there is such a massive ignorance, it's a challenge to humanity, it is a challenge to human minds to unravel the mystery. But while we do try to unravel the mystery, you have to also respect and enjoy and appreciate the mystery. Because that ignorance which I do not know, as a scientist, as an engineer, I consider as something which is spiritual. Spirituality really explains what I do not know, and I think the best thing that a human being can do to accept and learn that I do not know. And when we learn to know, to say I do not know, lots of things will fall in place. I remember 30 years back, I wrote a poem. And the title of that poem was Robot. Robot at that time was a concept. Even Japan had not created robots at that time, but the concept of robot was known. And I wrote in that poem that I suddenly realized that since I was born, I was hijacked. I was hijacked by my family, I was hijacked by, they decided what language I should speak, they decided what I should like and what I should dislike, they decided the religion that I must have. They, like Paula would say, brainwashed me to be what I am. But then I realized that I am not what I am, told that I am. I am probably something different. And then the search started. Search started to find out what I am, why I am here for, like most of us do. And I can assure you that recently when that question came as to what religion I must put across in a biodata, instead of putting Hinduism, I said humanism. And I realized why I did this. And I find that in the recent past, the noble thing like religion has been hijacked. Has been hijacked by people for their own benefits. I always said, when I went to Delhi, Rajiv Gandhi was a friend of mine. He became a friend of mine in 1974 when he was coming as a commercial pilot here. And we became friends because he was interested in electronics. And we became friends because though he was son of the Prime Minister, he never behaved like one. He used to come and we moved from 1974 till 1981. We moved extensively in city of Bombay, visited the restaurants together, went to shopping malls together. During this entire period, he could remain anonymous. Can you believe that a Prime Minister's son in a city like Bombay can remain anonymous? That was because of the kind of person Rajiv Gandhi was. And it was during that time I realized that he didn't want to have that shadow importance of being a prime minister's son and exercise his individuality. It was misfortune for him, I would say, that his brother passed away and he had to take up the responsibility primarily to look after Mrs. Gandhi's private correspondence. She used to get thousands of letters every day, and she didn't want that correspondence to be tackled by either her political colleagues or her government babus. And then he realized, and he requested, that was a big task, and he said, why don't you come to Delhi? That's how I got involved in Delhi, and I started going there. And because of the conversations that we had between 75 and 81, 82, when he entered politics, we realized that for a country like India, this massive country, which is as heterogeneous as one can believe, we say diversity, unity in diversity, and all those terms are used. But indeed, the fact was, it was not just number of languages that we spoke, but it was the economic disparities that you saw across the nation. And we said, what is the solution for this? Throughout intellectual discussions that one encounters today, you will find that we pose problem, we say how grave the things are. We all the time complain about how many things are wrong, but solutions are not forthcoming. We thought, therefore, that what is it that we have, what tools we have to bring about a marked change in Indian society, to bring about solutions which will bridge the gap between urban and rural India, which will bridge the gap between knowledge and ignorance. And we realized that modern technology, modern science could be used towards that end. We didn't want to pursue electronics and information technology because it was in great fashion, it was being practiced in Western world. We said, this is a tool which will enable us to bring the country together. And one of the first things that we realized was two things which were required, is to let various communities in India, various religious people in India, various linguistic groups in India to know each other more in terms of living, into day-to-day living. And we said communication, therefore, is the most important thing that we should expand in this country. And we took a concrete decision that both broadcasting and telecommunications is the first priority to bring India together. You should recognize very important things, what is happening today and what happened during Rajiv Gandhi's period. We ensured that we get the latest technology like digital communication, and we started it to be implemented in rural India. The first digital exchange in this country was installed in rural India. First 100 exchanges in this country were installed in rural India, not in urban cities of India. It was possible to make a long distance call from a rural village even before one could make it from Pune or Satara. There was a meaning to every action at that time what we took. We felt, I wrote the book, Third Parent, is about television. And we looked at what has television done to a country like United States. And why United States? Because it was never in our mind as a development model. United States cannot be a development model for anybody. It's a consuming society, it's a wasting society. It cannot be a model for us. So we said, no, we don't want that as a model for us. We must find our own solutions. And we felt there is something that has happened in the United States in the area of broadcasting, which is of significant value to us, what has happened in the United States? United States is also a heterogeneous country, multiracial, at one time multilingual, vast country, 3 times India's size. But in spite of this diversity, in spite of this expanse, in a short span of 50, 60 years, United States got homogenized. If you met an American person, irrespective of his caste, creed, or looks, or ethnic background, if you met him outside, you could make out that he has lived in the United States. What gave him this character for a shopkeeper to say, have a nice day after he gives a service anywhere in the United States? Where are these common mannerisms which can spread throughout the country? And we realize that the only medium, only way for that to be achieved is through media. And media like electronics media, because even in the United States there is illiteracy. So homogenization of society, if it has to be achieved, we felt electronic media is important, and we had a little taste of it through Hindi cinema. And we looked and discussed about this, and we said, it appears that Hindi cinema probably is doing more good for Hindi than Hindi enthusiasts. Hindi is getting more accepted, more understood throughout the country because of Hindi cinema than all the Hindi pracharaks that were sitting in Delhi. So mass media had a value, and therefore we should work in mass media. In the United States, a research showed that television was on the 8th place when it came to influencing child's mind, amongst the various things, starting with mother, father, neighbors, teachers. And it moved from 74, that was the position, by 84 it moved to 3rd place. And because it moved to 3rd place, I thought it will be good for me to entitle my book on television as Third Parent. And that's how the concept of third parent, we said we need to expand broadcasting. We need to expand broadcasting, especially in our country, when in real terms we have even today 75% illiteracy in this country. We realized it was waste of money to make anybody above 30 illiterate through any kind of financial investment and learning to read and write. But we said, we have a bypass. We have a bypass to take knowledge and information to people through media. And that's how the media was harnessed. And all this was done because even at the foundation of concept of spirituality lies networking, lies the concept of living as a part of community. And I think towards that end, our efforts were concentrated on using science and technology for development of society versus all our efforts about development of ourselves. I think that effort has to continue. Country like India cannot escape. We cannot progress. It will be futile for me to be happy if 500 people, 5 million people around me are unhappy. How can I be happy? How can I be contented? How can I be quiet when millions around me are unhappy? And therefore, I think it is important that while we work on ourselves, the best way to make oneself happy is also to get immersed in the activity of making others happy. And I believe that is something which is vital to me. I concentrate very little on myself. I do not meditate. I prefer to mediate. And I believe that time has come that India has to concentrate shift its concentration on self to society. And until unless we do that, we cannot be peaceful. If we are peaceful in a disturbed society, then we should be called selfish. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Devdar, for your wonderful remarks, guidelines, and suggestions. About two aspects of his talk, one about literate and illiterate. I was reminded of one Gujarati author who has defined who will be called illiterate in this 21st century. And that author has said that one who does not know how to operate computer will be called illiterate in this 21st century. And I think that is because of electronic revolution.
But let me make one comment on computers. There is a big baloney about computers. Pardon me for interrupting you.
No.
But I must make this comment.
Yes.
I think like everything else, India has become a victim of computer marketeers. Every science provides a solution, but there is no panacea. I was helping my granddaughter, and she asked me, Abba, what is the full form of RAM, ROM, EEPROM in the 4th standard? So I said, who is this character who writes this syllabus for a 4th year girl, 10-year-old girl, 9-year-old girl? And I realized that all ignorant people seem to follow computers even more forcefully than the computer experts. It's absurd compulsion on youngsters. Computer is the simplest thing to learn, and computer every day, every computer scientist in the world is trying to make it as simple as possible. We call it user friendly. It's basically the idea is that even the idiot should be able to use a computer. If that is so, because my granddaughter probably might drive a motor car when she grows up, do we teach her automobile engineering? Do you teach her what is under the bonnet, what is internal combustion engine? We don't, because to learn driving, you don't need to know what is under bonnet. And same way, to use computers, by the time she grows, she doesn't have to bother about what is in that box and what is PROM and EEPROM. But our politicians have lost their head. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your observation and also throwing that red light on over or excess use of computers. Everything has its own limit. And I think with the development in the field of science, a day may come when computers will become obsolete.
Sure.
Now friends, I have that duty to present before you all action plan. This is just what I started thinking in the morning, and I have just drafted it for the benefit of all of us. I don't know to what extent it will be acceptable to you all. It is just an action plan. If you like it, accept it. If you do not like it, do not accept it, and let it remain with me. But this is what I thought after listening yesterday all the speakers, their speeches, the enthusiasm of all of you attending this dialogue. Theory of evolution has in fact made its own impact here also In the beginning we thought that there will be only 50 people, hardly 50 people also. And out of that, those 50 also, all of them may not attend full day. Hardly 10, 15 will be there during the daytime because yesterday was not a holiday and today also is not a holiday. But to our surprise, when we began, we got registration forms for 150. Yesterday, we had in the morning 300 bundi ka laddu, and even then some of you could not get it. That means we had more than 300 yesterday morning. And all of them were sitting here. Brother Karthikeyan was also telling me that the presence here and the presence of mind here also is the test of popularity and effectiveness and usefulness of this dialogue. So I hope that the same enthusiasm will also remain with you. Same enthusiasm will remain with you, and we will be able to fulfill what this action plan for making science and spirituality complementary for building a better society. If you have any suggestions after listening to this or reading this action plan, please send me your views in writing or by email or by fax also. Long back, I read one article in Bhavan's journal by the then secretary of Bhavan's journal, Ramakrishna Bhai, Brother Ramakrishna, on some Geneva conference of scientists. Probably it might be in 1976. He had written it in Bhavan's journal. I had that copy. But as you know, our own tendency, friends borrow it and do not return it. But the manifesto printed at the end of the conference, that Geneva conference, in which 54 Nobel Prize winners also participated. It was a 10-point manifesto. I remember the first and the last one. The first one stated that we the scientists, by ignoring soul in the body, we the scientists, by ignoring soul in the body, have converted human being into machines. And they said that we would like to reverse this process by accepting soul in the body and reconvert machines into human beings, human machines into human beings. That is what they have suggested. I think we should also suggest of this reversal of process. Let us accept existence of soul in this body. Yesterday only I asked Dr. Adiya, Jitendra Adiya, that you are thinking and you are talking about mind. Where is this mind in this body? And what is this mind? And he said that this is that cosmic energy. Well, same thing, we in our institution also believe that mind, intellect and sanskaras put together, that is the anatomy of soul. Our doctor discussed here anatomy of the body. We in Brahma Kumaris, we are also surgeons because we discuss there the anatomy of the soul and try to purify and rectify impurities within this soul, within this mind and intellect, and also our sanskaras. So we have to undergo this reversal process and see that we do not commit that mistake. Let us accept existence of soul within that body. Second thing, or the last, or the 10th aspect of their Geneva Manifesto was that we, the scientists of the world, understand that the world transformation process is going on, and we, the scientists, would like to play a better role in it. I don't know who guided them or who inspired them to use this word or to experience that the world transformation process is going on. We in Brahma Kumaris daily experience this world transformation process. In fact, the very first divine glimpse that our Dada Lekhraj or Pita Sri Brahma received was that on this Chopati beach only, he saw that world transformation process. The entire sky in front of him became his screen. He first saw bloodshed, blood flowing, people killing each other and all those things. This happened in 1936. He saw that thing. He was terrified. He could not apprehend and comprehend also. But then slowly and slowly that vision was turned into a divine vision of angels coming down from the subtle world, soul world, and it was a world of plenty, world of angels, world of deities, heaven on earth. And then he heard that voice that this world is going to be transformed from hell into heaven, and that you will be an instrument for this transformation. So right from 1936, we in our institution experienced this world transformation process. I don't have time here to discuss in details of this world transformation process that we have experienced, but that is our experience. And how can we deny our own experience? Just as the experience is that I am here and that is my experience, how can I deny myself? Like that, how can we deny our own experience of how world transformation process is going on and how it is going to end, and how all these things are clearly told to us right from 1937 to all of us. And just as the scientists have told in that manifesto that we would like to play a better role in it, I hope we all, those who are participating in this dialogue, would like to play a better role in this world transformation process. Not for the sake of world, but for the sake of our own self, so that we will have a better role in that duly transformed new world called as heaven or Satyuga and what not. That is the aim and object, also ultimate object of this Brahma Kumaris institution. Then another action plan. Science and spirituality will have to come together to fight evil forces of materialism. As I have already told you yesterday also, in 1971, I was talking in New York with one great philosopher of America, USA, and he was telling me that we have already suffered evil fruits of modern materialism. Please tell your society, that means India, that ultimate goal of life is not modern materialism. And he said that in fact the message of spiritualism or spiritual way of life, spiritual bent of life is most useful to all of us, and therefore the message to all of us is that we have to fight this modern materialism. Second thing that we have to fight is demoralization. Demoralization at all cost. It is there in every corner of life, in every corner of our society. I'm sorry, we'll have a small break. Our chief guest, Srimati Jayanti Ben Mehta, has come here. She is our chief guest, and we invite her to be on the stage along with Sister Bharati.